So Ontario Premier Doug Ford does it again. He is doubling down or even tripling down at this point on his own stupidity, stepping all over his face. So you recall Doug Ford, when he saw the tariff threat by Donald Trump, which wasn't a threat, it was an ultimatum. It was a proposal to say, hey, you guys, you need to step up your border security. Let's talk this out. Let's negotiate like grown-ass adults and find something out. But Doug Ford and Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland, because they don't have the negotiation skills, because they don't have the ability or strength to talk to Donald Trump and actually work something out, they took it as a personal vendetta and proposed their own retaliation against Donald Trump. It's not working, though, because as we exposed, cutting off the electricity to the northern states of New York and Michigan and Ohio and all these other places, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. These places have their own power generation. We import a lot of the electricity from the states into certain parts of Ontario. So it's not feasible. It's not feasible whatsoever. Yeah, other premiers have even pointed this out. Danielle Smith of Alberta even said this is ridiculous. I'm not going to shut off my oil supply. We're going to actually talk about this like grown-ass adults. But here's Ontario Premier on CNN. They brought him onto CNN because, let's bring on some other, anti-Trump person who looks tough and strong, is going to take him down a few. So Ontario Premier Doug Ford is interviewed on CNN one day after Chrystia Freeland was fired, while Canada faces the threat of Trump's tariffs. Here's what happened. He's saying it's a good interview. Let's judge for ourselves.
Tonight, Donald Trump throwing Canada into chaos after calling Canada a state and calling its prime minister Governor Justin Trudeau. Comes as Trump's nemesis in Canada. The country's deputy prime minister, Chrystia Freeland, who's also its finance minister, is gone. She abruptly resigned after clashing with Prime Minister Trudeau, saying he is not doing enough to stand up to Trump and Trump's threat of 25% tariffs on.
Is it just me? I know I'm stopping in a random place, but is it just me, or does she look like Aaron Burnett, look like the mom from the Santa Claus movies? It's the time of the year where you see all the, advertisements for all the Christmas movies, and it literally looks like the same actress. Literally looks like the same actress. Aaron Burnett and whoever was on the Santa Claus. I don't know who.
On every single good that comes into the United States from Canada. Trump calls her toxic. But there is another top Canadian official now taking Trump on tonight, Ontario Premier Doug Ford. He is calling for his country to use every tool in our toolbox, a direct quote, including cutting off Canadian energy to the United States if Trump follows through with his threat. Warning, quote, the Americans are going to.
Again, he's trying to get the other premiers on board with this, and the other premiers are thinking he's stupid. So this plan, this retaliation, we're going to take on America. It's not working. It's not working. It's not feasible. It's not possible. And all the other premiers agree with that. They know how stupid it is. They know how much of a lunacy it is. And how easily this could have been all resolved if you sat down, stopped this, petty BS, and sat down like grown-ass adults and talk it through. Negotiate.
Feel the pain as well. Premier Ford is out front with me tonight. And Premier, I appreciate your time. And I want to just start here with your proposal itself. What exactly does cutting off Canadian energy to the United States look like?
Well, first of all, Aaron, thanks for having me on. That's the last thing I want to do. I want to sell more electricity, more power to our U.S.
So this is his cover. He says this every time this is brought up. I never wanted to do this. I didn't want to do this intentionally. So why, literally moments after Trump sent that message, Trump announced the tariff threat, to use your language, just to communicate with Doug Ford, to use that threat, why literally moments after you decide, hey, let's turn off the electricity. Let's turn off the power for America. Where was your other proposals? Where was your other statements? Were you going to actually talk with him? No, never was. The moment that tariff threat came, yeah, we're going to cut off the power. Ha!
Friends and closest allies in the world, but that's a tool that we have in our toolbox. We power over 1.5 million homes in Michigan and counties in Michigan and New York State and Wisconsin. That's the last thing I want to do. I want to sell more energy to the U.S. I want to sell more critical minerals to the U.S. Again, we're the closest trading partner, closest allies. We do $1.3 trillion of two-way trade. That's more than Japan, China, UK, and France combined. I just feel we aren't the enemy. The big problem, in my opinion, is China. Cheap Chinese products going through Mexico. They're slapping a made in Mexico sticker on, shipping it up through the U.S. and Canada and costing American and Canadian jobs.
So, when you talk.
So then he brings in the China rhetoric. And I know that people like Doug Ford would be definitely on board with a war in China, which I think is absolutely stupid because right there, all your manufactured goods, your t-shirts, your plastics, everything comes from China. You know why? Because they sent the businesses over there. All the investors, all the experts in the higher-ups of the business fields, they tell businesses to go operate in China. It's cheaper there. You can get plastics 2 cents on the dollar. You can get everything done over there. They don't care. They don't care. And then next thing you know, they get angry in the fact that Chinese business is taking off. Yeah, because you sent all of our business over there. Of course their economy is going to do better. Their economy is going to work for them because you sent it over there. And now you want to retaliate against them? It shows how stupid these people are. Literally how stupid these people are. If myself can point that out, if me, a simple Canadian YouTuber on a shoestring budget podcast in his basement is able to point this out, then someone like Doug Ford should be able to. Which is why I coined the nickname for him, Dunce Ford. And not because he looks like the perpetual child that should be sitting in the corner with a cap on his head.
Talk about that Americans will feel the pain if you have to go through with this. You specifically threatened to turn off the lights to 1.5 million Americans. And I say that just because if you're specifically talking about electricity coming into the U.S. from Canada, that only makes up about 1% of annual U.S. electricity consumption. That's according to the EIA here in the U.S. But, Premier, when it comes to crude oil, if you go bigger, you're looking at Canadian exports to the U.S., 60% of America's total oil imports come from Canada.
And they come from Alberta, which the Alberta Premier, Danielle Smith, said she would never do that. She knows how stupid that would be. She knows that would hurt even more of the Albertan economy that's already struggling under Justin Trudeau. She doesn't need more of this. Alberta doesn't need more of this crap. But Doug Ford is going to triple down on his own stupidity because of this. Completely brainless on this decision-making. But it's the last thing he wants to do. The last thing I want to do for the United States. I like the people of the United States, but it's the last thing I want to do. Really, then what other decisions you had before that? Did you plan anything out? Do you have anything writing? No. They're just going to cut off the power.
So do you want to go bigger in this? If these tariffs are going to go through, should you reciprocate with tariffs, not just on electricity, but on crude oil itself?
Well, we ship down 4.3 million barrels every single day. If there was a tariff on that, that would increase gas by $1 a gallon. That wouldn't go over very well. And, both sides of the border are going to feel the pain. We rely on each other. Ontario is a big auto province, and I want to work with the U.S. I love the American people. I spent 20 years of my life there in Chicago, in our Chicago facility in New Jersey. I love Americans. I love the U.S., and we're so much stronger together. Let's build Fort MCAN, and let's onshore these products from China and create more American and Canadian
So can I just ask you, taking a step back, and I know some of...
So how would cutting off the power to northern states going to help that? How is that going to help the relation you want to build with the United States to bring back more jobs? Which, again, none of that's ever happening. Because all these businessmen, all these henchmen, all the investors, the international transfer dollars, they're shipping these jobs to cheaper countries. They're outsourcing it. And now they're trying to insource the people to take away current jobs within this country for cheap labor. They're screwing you 9 ways to Sunday. And this is just another example. While Douche Ford here, Dunce Ford here, is telling you how much he adores America. I adore Americans. I spent time in Chicago. I went to here. Oh, I hate for you guys to lose your power, but you left me no choice. The same idiot that's wasting down our healthcare system fired a bunch of nurses. The healthcare system is such a joke at this point now that the only way to solve it is to implement alcohol sales into corner stores. Hey, I know you have to wait for, to see your family doctor for 4 months. Hey, I know it takes, 16 hours to wait in an emergency room. But go have some wine spritzers on the house at Circle K. Go ahead. Go to the corner store and go, buy yourself some alcohol.
Some of the stuff Trump had posted, he referred again to Canada as a state. He referred again to Prime Minister Trudeau as a governor. It's not the first time. He had posted that AI-generated image of himself standing next to the Canadian flag with the caption, "Oh, Canada." And that was after Prime Minister Trudeau flew down to Mar-a-Lago unannounced to meet with Trump about his tariff threat, where, Trump joked that Canada could become the 51st state. So can we just take a step back? I know in some of this he's sort of making a joke, but he's doing it again and again and again. And obviously, it is demeaning. I mean, how do you respond to that he keeps referring to Canada as a state and the leader of your country as a governor?
Well, it's up to premiers like myself, which is equivalent to governors down in the U.S.
Yep. It's
our job to go down and inform Americans. We have a large ad campaign going on in the U.S. to inform them that we are their number one trading partner, number one ally in the entire world. The supply chains are so integrated.
So why aren't you telling American officials that? Why aren't you talking to Trudeau or Trump about that? Why are you going on to CNN doubling down your own stupidity? Why aren't you trying to coordinate with Donald Trump? Go down to Mar-a-Lago, talk to the guy. Try to explain the situation, which is exactly what Trump wants. He wants people to talk to him, negotiate. I know people view him as some sort of Hitler-like guy, but I think deep down, the business acumen in him really wants to just sit down with people and negotiate something. That's what we hope for with Donald Trump. That's the optimism I have for someone like him, and I don't even like him. I've never liked Donald Trump. Never. That's the only optimism I can think of, is the fact that he is that person that wants to hear other people out. And someone as stupid as Doug Ford is being right here, saying, I don't want to do this to people. It's the last resort. I don't want to cut off the electricity, but I'm going to have to. And I hate for the American people because I love the American people. He's just stalling when he knows the obvious answer. He just told you there, I want to go down and talk to the people. Then do it. Stop this tirade. Stop this crucifying of the northern states. Go down and talk to Donald Trump and sort something out. Frig.
We're so much stronger together. The only people that win, Aaron, is China. Americans lose, Canadians lose, and that's the problem. And Mexico has to make a decision. You're either with Beijing or you're with Washington. I'll tell you what Canadians are with. They're with Washington.
So do you take Trump seriously when he mocks Canada, or do you think that that's just, his negotiating tactic?
He has a sense of humor, but I'm more concerned about the trade, making sure that we secure trade on both sides of the border. And this is pretty simple. The president is asked to secure our border. I agree with him 1,000%. We need to secure our border. We're going to secure our border. We have to meet our 2% commitment to NATO, and we're going to do both. So those are two asks that we're going to get done. I've been saying it well before President Trump was elected, that we have to meet the 2%. We have to secure our borders. And then we move forward and sit down and have a discussion. I'd love to sit down with the president, businessman to businessman, and have a conversation with them, because we are so much stronger together.
All right. Well, Premier Ford, I appreciate.
Oh, my God. They said, and who was that guy? Stephen Taylor. He told me that was a good interview. Jesus friggin' Christ. That was just awful. That was friggin' awful. You saw the reactions. So, that was on CNN. Now he's going to go back. This is global news.
And
again, doubling down on this insane rhetoric where he knows, he just told you, I want to sit down with Donald Trump and discuss it out, then just go and do it. Go and freaking do it. You even agreed that we need to focus on border security. So go do it. It's that simple, folks. It's that simple. But clueless idiots like him don't have the initial response to do that. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because the lobby firms that, peddle to his campaign. I don't know what it is. But to do this kind of retaliation, I'm going to shut off the power of the northern states is the last thing I want to do, but I'm going to do it. It's just the dumbest approach ever to this. And this is why Canada has become the laughingstock it has become. Not just with Trudeau, but because of idiots like him. And here he is, global news, doing the exact same thing.
at the top of that list for Ontario is possibly cutting off energy supply to key U.S. states. Which ones are you talking about?
Look at his face there. Look at his face. That is the face of a toddler that just went boom boom and is trying to cover it up. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're gonna say words.
About what would that achieve?
Well, what it would achieve would turn off lights to about 1.5 million Americans, which I would never want to do. But if they come at us, we have to stand up for Canadians. We have to stand up for Ontarians and use every tool in our toolbox to make sure we defend our province.
There you go, folks. There you friggin' go. And Doug Ford, it's just amazing they could say one thing and another thing in the same sentence, but not connect. Not understand that him shutting off the power to America is not going to help the relation of America. And he wants to have this relation with America because we got to go after China. We got to go after the evil, sinister China where all the jobs are being shipped off to. But I'm going to shut off the power. It's not something I want to do, but it's something I'm going to do. So, here's Donald Trump responding to this. Because Donald Trump saw that CNN interview. He knows what's going on with Doug Ford. And here's him on CNBC, because I think he just did the New York Stock Exchange bell, where they ring it for the closing. Is it the closing or the opening they ring the bell for? And it says, on CNBC this morning, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump not moved by Premier Doug Ford's threat to cut off power supply to Michigan, New York, and Minnesota if Trump follows through on these 25% tariffs. So, he knows it's stupid. Donald Trump is not threatened by this. So, who is this benefiting? Who is this benefiting? You're going to cut off the electricity to states that literally less than 1% get our electricity from. We give them less than 1% of our electric to these states. Who is this helping? Who is this benefiting? So here, listen to what Trump says.
Well, that's okay if he does that. That's fine. But the United States is subsidizing Canada. It's truly a subsidy. And we shouldn't have to do that. And we have a great relationship. I have so many friends in Canada. But we shouldn't have to subsidize a country. And we're subsidizing them for more than $100 billion a year. And we shouldn't have to be doing that.
So there you go. Trump's not impressed with this threat by Doug Ford. He's not impressed by Trudeau's reaction to this. Because right now, Donald Trump has a bit of leverage to say that, hey, you guys are trying to put these ridiculous threats onto my country and my people. Don't forget, I subsidize a lot of your economics. I subsidize a lot of Canada. We buy oil and gas from you. We do all this. It's just absolutely crazy. And they expect, Donald Trump to cave to them. No, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But what he does respond to, what I've been saying throughout this whole point, is we need to have strong leaders to go down to Donald Trump, go down to Mar-a-Lago, and talk to him man to man. Which is something that even Doug Ford brought about numerous times in his interview, just doesn't do it. Doesn't do it. And again, I don't know why. I don't know why. He knows he has to do it. He knows why exactly this tariff threat even started in the first place. He knows about, he agrees that we need to fix border security. But why? Why is he bothering to make this vague threat of cutting off the electricity to northern states? Like, it is the dumbest remark you can get from someone. From the dumbest premier of this country, sadly. And that says a lot. That says a lot. Because at least some of the other premiers, at least people like Danielle Smith and other premiers, even the Quebec premier we saw on Monday there. The Quebec and New Brunswick premier said how stupid this was. That Doug Ford's going to cut off the electricity. We're going to take advantage and we're going to, go after America. We're going to cut off their supplies. They know how stupid this is. They know how stupid and ridiculous it is, and they know that the easiest solution is to talk directly, man-to-man to Donald Trump, which is exactly what we should be doing, and fix our border security, which finally we're getting to. Finally, we're getting a step into that direction. Not on the face of just begging to Donald Trump, but the fact that many, many Canadians within your country can all agree our border security needs to be dealt with, that we have a crisis on foot and we got to fix one of those crises, one of them, whether being the border security, immigration, one of them. So we're getting a step at least in the right direction for securing this country.